Hi there, this is Paul Keane, PKvermonter, and I'm here to talk to you about Death of a Salesman. The reason you can only see my head is because the original title of Death of a Salesman was In His Head. But the playwright Arthur Miller's editor didn't like In His Head and found a phrase in one of Willy Loman, the main character's great speeches, about Death of a Salesman, and he changed it to Death of a Salesman. It's become the most famous title in the world. If you got off an airplane anywhere in the world today and said Death of a Salesman, people would know what you were talking about. It's one of the most famous titles. Death of a Salesman was written in the late 40s, after World War II ended with the Hiroshima bombing. And we're going to watch that now. The airplane Enola Gay is going to drop the atomic bomb for us to watch.
Having ignored American demands for surrender, the Japanese were now to experience the effects of a new weapon of destruction. Atom bomb and Nagasaki. A Japanese reported, suddenly a glaring light appeared in the sky. In seconds, thousands of people were scorched by a wave of searing heat. Many were killed instantly, others lay writhing on the ground, screaming in agony. By evening, the fire began to die down, and then it went out. There was nothing left to burn. Hiroshima had ceased to exist. The bomb had heralded in a new and terrible concept of warfare, but its use probably saved hundreds of thousands of both American and Japanese lives, for the fighting was over.
That was the summer of 1945, and one finger in that airplane either pressed a button or pushed a lever. And with that gesture, all thousand-year definitions, thousands-of-year-old definitions of manhood were obliterated. Previous to this event, manhood had been somehow defined as a face-to-face encounter between two men wielding weapons, whether it was David and Goliath or Napoleon with his sword or General Grant with his rifle, or even the airplanes that dropped smaller bombs in World War I. The fighter pilots were in the sky shooting at each other. It was face-to-face combat. But when a single finger could kill 100,000 people 60 seconds later, all definitions of manhood were out the window. Now, whether people knew that or not back then, I contend, and it's the point I'm making in this little chat, this little talk, that the absence of a culturally agreed upon definition of a man threw our civilization into a limbo, and gender itself into limbo. By the way, Death of a Salesman was written by Arthur Miller, who married, if you don't remember, the most beautiful woman in the world, Marilyn Monroe. She had divorced the most famous athlete at the time, of the time, Joe DiMaggio, because he slapped her around. And a few years later, after Death of a Salesman had made Arthur Miller the most famous playwright in the world, She married Arthur Miller, saying, "I want to be loved for my mind, not my body." Let's watch the news item about their marriage.
Putting an end to all speculation, Arthur Miller and Marilyn Monroe confirmed they will soon marry.
Everyone is interested in your plans and that big question. Now, can you tell us where and when?
I'm not going to say where we will be married for just that reason, because I think it's time enough for everybody to know when it happens and leave us with a little bit of peace until it happens.
Could you tell us what kind of a wedding you're going to have?
Very quiet, I hope.
Do you feel certain at this time that you will be able to get away to go to England?
I feel certain I'm going to try awfully hard.
It means you may not have a honeymoon together then.
I think we will.
Looking relaxed and self-assured, they posed for pictures with Arthur Miller's parents after answering reporters' questions. The couple plan to go to England soon so Miss Monroe can begin work on a new film, although Mr. Miller's legal problems may prevent him from joining her.
That was 1957. And actually, they got married in my town at a synagogue in Hamden, Connecticut. I remember being a little boy and thinking if I rode my bike over there the Saturday after the wedding, that maybe Marilyn Monroe and Arthur Miller would come out and I could see them, but that wasn't the case. Anyway, a lot of people would say, what are we watching or talking about Death of a Salesman for? It's old world. We want modern plays. Well, I want to show you one particular excerpt from Death of a Salesman that's a very good reason for us to be treating it now. Can we play that? Willie Loman has just been fired. Willie Loman's the salesman.
There was personality in it, Howard. There was respect and comradeship and gratitude in it. Today it's all cut and dried, and there's no chance for bringing friendship to bear or personality. I mean, you see what I mean. They don't know me anymore.
That's just the thing, Willie.
If I had $40 a week, that's
kid,
all I need.
Kid,
$40.
I can't take blood from a stone,
Howard,
Willie.
your Al Smith was nominated. Your father came to me. I'm talking about your father. There were promises made across this desk. You mustn't tell me that you got people to see. I put 34 years into this firm, Howard, and now I can't pay my insurance. You can't eat the orange and throw the peel away. A man is not a piece of fruit.
So there are 16,500,000 people on the unemployment line right now in America. 16,500,000 oranges that have been eaten and the peel has been thrown away. Of course you can put 34 years into a firm and be thrown away. That's exactly why Miller got into trouble with this play with the House Un-American Activities Committee, because it exposes the American dream as a lie based on the vicissitudes, that's a big word, the ups and downs of the American economy. When it's up, it's good. When it's down, you're shafted. So there's something else that I think is interesting in this play that has nothing to do with Fancy Dan literary analysis. It just, as I read it, I think I've read it 50 times out loud now with my students over the years. As I read it, I discovered more and more of these things. At first I thought Arthur Miller had put in 3 or 4 definitions of a man. There are actually 13 definitions of a man in this play. Here's the book. It's a tiny, slender little volume, 119 pages. Can you see it? 119 pages. That means 13 definitions, 1 every 10 pages. What would ever possess anyone to put 13 definitions of a man in such a slender volume? And why isn't it tremendously boring? How did it ever become one of the most famous plays in the world? Well, we're going to quickly skip through these 13 definitions. I'm not going to give you too much background. I'm just going to tell you the four main characters so you'll know. There's Willie Loman, the 63-year-old salesman, his wife, Linda Loman, Biff Loman, his 34-year-old son, and Happy Loman, his 32-year-old son. There are also flashbacks when the sons are, when everybody is 16 years younger. There's Charlie, the next door neighbor, who's a successful businessman, and there's Ben, Willie's brother, a rich African diamond mine and Gold Coast salesman or entrepreneur. He owns it. But he's also died at the opening of the play. The play takes place in the present, but it flashes back 16 years. So now we're going to quickly go through these 13 definitions. The first one isn't actually a definition of a man as much as it is Biff, the 34-year-old son, talking to his 32-year-old brother, saying he's like a boy. He's defining what a boy is, and in the process, he's creating the opposite, which is what a man is. So let's listen to Biff.
Maybe I ought to get married, right? Maybe I ought to get stuck into something. Maybe that's my trouble. I'm like a boy. I mean, I'm not married. I'm not in business. I'm just like a boy.
So a man, therefore, is someone who's married and in business, someone who assumes responsibility. That's one definition. Now the next one is Willie Loman talking to his next door neighbor Charlie as they're playing cards in Willie's kitchen. This is in Brooklyn, 1949.
Huh? Well, talk about it. What, you gonna put up a ceiling?
How can I put up
So
a
what the hell are you bothering me for?
You're insulted again.
A man who can't handle tools is not a man. You're disgusting.
So a man is someone who can use his hands dexterously. He's a man who can handle tools is a man. Go ahead. The next one is Willie. It's a flashback, and we're seeing Willie Loman's brother, the rich entrepreneur from Africa, talking to 16-year-old Biff and telling him what a man is.
Very good. Oh, shake hands, boy. Atta-way.
Look out, Biff!
Never fight fair with a stranger, boy. You'll never get out of the jungle that way. It was an honor and a pleasure to meet you, Linda.
Have a nice trip.
So there's a great role model for a young boy. His hero uncle says a man is someone who plays dirty to get out of the jungle. Playing dirty is what a man is. So now we got 3 or 4 of these. Next one is Biff is 34 again, and his 62-year-old mother is telling him what a man is.
You can't look around all your life, can you?
Well, I just can't take hold, Mom. I can't take hold of some kind of life.
Biff, a man is not a bird to come and go with the springtime.
Your hair.
So a man is someone who puts down roots, who stays put. Next, we're going to see Linda tell Biff also what a man is based on physical size.
Attention must finally be paid to such a person. You called him crazy?
Mom, I didn't...
Wait a minute. A lot of people think he's lost his balance, but you don't have to be very smart to know what his trouble is. The man is exhausted.
Sure.
A small man can be just as exhausted as a great man. He works for a company. 36 years this March. He opens up unheard of territories to their trademark, and now, in his old age, they take his salary away.
So a small man can be just as exhausted as a great man. There's no difference between small and great men in terms of endurance. This, I think, is number 5 or 6. No, that's number 5. Here's number 6. This is Biff's brother, Happy, telling Biff what a man is.
It's settled now. I've been remiss. I know that, but now I'll stay, and I swear to you, Mom, I'll apply myself. It's just that, see, I don't fit in business. Not that I won't try. I'll try and I'll make good.
Sure you will. Trouble with you in business was you never tried to please people.
Yeah,
it's like when you worked for Harrison. Bob Harrison, he said you were tops. Then you go and do some damn fool thing like whistling whole songs in the elevator like a comedian.
Well, so what? I like to whistle sometimes.
You don't raise a guy to a responsible job who whistles in the elevator.
Oh, don't argue about it now.
So a man who is raised to a responsible job is someone who behaves in manlike, not boy-like fashion. And whistling in an elevator is considered by Happy to be boyish behavior. This is number 7. Willie telling his 34-year-old son, Biff, what kind of language men use.
Oh, I think everything is going.
Stop interrupting, but don't wear a sports jacket and slacks when you see Oliver. A business suit and talk as little as possible, and don't crack any jokes.
Hey, he did like me. Always liked me.
Oh, he loved you.
Will you stop? Walking very serious. You're not applying for a boy's job. Money is to pay. Shh. Be quiet, fine, and serious. Everybody likes a kidder, but nobody lends them money.
I'll try to get some myself, Biff. I'm sure I can.
Oh, I see great things for you kids. I think your troubles are over. But remember, start big and you'll end big. Ask for 15. How much are you going to ask for?
Gee, I don't know.
Oh, don't say G. G is a boy's word. A man walking in for $15,000 does not say G.
Well, 10, I think, could be
Don't
top,
be so modest. You always started too low.
So you use man's language, not boy's language. G is a boy's word. Next, and this one's straight out of Ralph Waldo Emerson's Self-Reliance. When Willie, just before Willie is being fired, he's actually asking his boss to take him off the road because he can't drive safely anymore and let him be a salesman in the main office in New York instead of on the New England route.
Understand that, Willie. But you're a road man, Willie. We do a road business. We've only got half dozen salesmen on the floor here.
God knows, Howard, I never asked a favor of any man, but I was with the firm when your father used to carry you in here in his office.
I never asked a favor of any man. That could have come out of the mouth of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Self-Reliance, his essay, great essay, only it's, Emerson said it a little more eloquently. And now, the one we opened with about the orange peel, it's worth seeing again just so you'll see what sequence it's in. Go ahead.
There was personality in it, Howard. There was respect and comradeship and gratitude in it. Today it's all cut and dried, and there's no chance for bringing friendship to bear or personality. I mean, you see what I mean. They don't know me anymore.
That's just the thing, Willie.
If I had $40 a week, that's
kid,
all I need.
Kid,
$40.
I can't take blood from a stone,
Howard, the
Willie.
year Al Smith was nominated, your father came to me. I'm talking about your father. There were promises made across this desk. You mustn't tell me that you got people to see. I put 34 years into this firm, Howard, and now I can't pay my insurance. You can't eat the orange and throw the peel away. A man is not a piece of fruit.
So the futility of the American dream. Work your whole life and you get thrown out on the trash heap like an orange peel after you've been eaten up by the materialistic culture we live in. The next one, when Willie has decided to commit suicide and in a symbolic form is telling his friend Charlie that that's what he's going to do.
funny, you know, after all the highways and the trains and the appointments and the years, you end up worth more dead than alive.
Willie, nobody's worth nothing dead.
Willie's talking about his life insurance there. When he commits suicide, he's going to get $20,000 if he covers it up enough so they can't prove he's committed suicide, and they honor the policy. And I have to tell you, my own father, 20 years ago on his deathbed, said the same words, just as if he was quoting Willie Loman. He said, "I'm worth more dead than alive." And he was talking about the very same thing. And I would ask you to consider the possibility that that is what America does to people. That's what this play is saying, that adopting materialism as your highest value corrodes the soul and the spirit. Okay, next we're going to see Willie at the end of the play, when he's absolutely certain that he's going to commit suicide, is planting a garden in the middle of the night so something will be left after him. I got to get something in the ground, he says. His seeds, his real seeds, his kids, have amounted to nothing, so he wants to leave something after he dies, and he's talking to the hallucination of his dead brother's ghost. There are times in the play when his dead brother is a flashback, but this is a hallucination. There it is.
Carrots, quarter-inch apart, 1 foot rows, 1 foot. Beets, lettuce, 1 foot. Oh, what a proposition. Terrific, terrific, 'cause she's suffered, man. Woman has suffered. Man can't go out the way he came in. Man has got to add up to something. You can't, you gotta consider now.
Well, we didn't get to see Ben's ghost, but that's who he was talking to. And now Willie has committed suicide, and they're standing over his grave, his wife, Charlie, the next door neighbor, the successful businessman, Charlie's son, Bernard, who is a successful lawyer, and Biff and Happy, who are not successful. And you're going to see two definitions of a man over Willie's dead body, literally. And we might as well run both of them without my speaking. So we can do that. I think we can do that.
I can't understand it. First time in just about 35 years, we were almost free and clear. He only needed a little salary. Even finished with the dentist.
No man only needs a little salary.
And now we're going to watch the second one.
Why don't you come with me, Happy?
I'm not licked that easily. I'm staying right in this city, and I'm gonna beat this racket. Loman Brothers.
I know who I am, kid.
All right, boy. I'm gonna show you and everybody else that Willie Loman did not die in vain. He had a good dream. It's the only dream he can have, to come out #1 man. He fought it out here, and this is where I'm gonna win it for him.
So there they are, all 13 definitions of a man. Most of them materialistic. And I don't know about you, if there are other men watching this video, but I'm exhausted just thinking about them. Why do I have to be anything because I'm a man? Why can't I just be a human being? It's because we live in this culture that evaluates everything on the basis of dollars and cents. You gotta add up to something. You can't go out the way you came in. No man only needs a little salary. On and on and on and on. But there's something else going on, and that's why my head is here instead of my body. And that's why the title of this play, I think, was originally called by, well, the title of the play was originally In His Head by Arthur Miller, but I think originally he chose that title because subconsciously, unconsciously, the anxiety created by the atomic bomb, which wiped out once and for all any culturally agreed upon definition of a man, that anxiety just bubbled up in him as an artist when he was writing this play, and all of these definitions came out. Why? Because he and everyone else wondered, well, what is a man now? If a single finger pressing a button can kill 100,000 people 60 seconds later, then all previous definitions of manhood as face-to-face combat between two people holding a weapon, from slingshot to sword to rifle to cannon, two people holding a weapon, face-to-face combat, all such definitions are out the window. And anxiety reigns. I think our present cultural ambivalence about men and women, what are they? Are men now, the pressure on men now is to be collaborators, partners, patient, nurturing, supportive. These words never applied to the 1950s man. So we are going through this period, and my hope is, and you will see it right now, my hope is that we will get our bodies back. That in his head will suddenly become in his personhood again, and we will be whole as males again. But I'm afraid that's a futile hope. I think we've got 20, 30, 40 more years of this floundering around trying to define what manhood is before we get out of our head. In fact, maybe Death of a Salesman, maybe someone will write a sequel to Death of a Salesman called Out of His Head. Nice talking to you. Next time we talk about Death of a Salesman, I'm going to do 15 or 20 actors' choices that Dustin Hoffman and other actors in the play make that change or deepen our understanding of the characters. But for now, this is PKvermonter saying good night and see you again.